Alright, welcome back everyone. I want you to load up your paper while you watch this video. So pull it up and we're going to format it together. So I'm going to teach you how to do each thing. You might have some of the formatting done, you might not. So pause the video for each step and apply it to your paper. And that's going to be the best way to make sure you don't lose any points on formatting, and you can do this for every single paper in this class. So the first step is to have your paper loaded up in Microsoft Word. I'm going to do this video in Microsoft Word, but if you use a different program, remember you can download Microsoft Word for free from CBC, and that's what I recommend doing. But if you want to use Google Docs or Pages, you're going to need to go to YouTube and do a search for how to format a paper in MLA format in Google Docs or in Pages. So just be aware of that. I'm going to do it in Microsoft Word for Windows. Microsoft Word for Mac is a little bit different, but it's pretty similar. So let's get started. So first thing, we've got our paper here. We want to set up our font and our margins. So I'm going to highlight everything by pressing Control A. On a Mac it's Command A, but for Windows, Control A. Highlighted everything. I'm going to go to Layout, Margins. For MLA we're going to use normal 1-inch margins. So went to not on the home page, but Layout, Margins, Normal. So go ahead and pause your video and apply that step. Once you're ready, we're going to go to the next step. We want our font. So I'm actually going to press Control A again. Go back to the Home menu. Make sure my font is Times New Roman, size 12. That's what I want for my paper. Now before I go any further, I'm going to create a header for my paper. This is something that shows up on every page. And to get to the header in Word, you double click at the top of the page. Now if you're using Microsoft Word Online, this will not work. There's a different way to insert the header, so you'll need to, like I said, the easiest way if you're using a different program, Microsoft Word Online is different from the desktop version. So just do a quick Google search or a YouTube search, how to create a header in Microsoft Word Online, or how to format a paper in MLA in Microsoft Word Online. So I'm using the desktop version. So in the desktop version, you just double click the top of the page. And then you get this dotted line. That's your header. You can also go and find the header under the Insert menu. You can go Insert, Header. But I like to just double click. That's nice and fast. And I want my header to be all the way over here. So to get out of the header, you just double click under the dotted line to get back in. Double click up here on top. Sometimes when you do this, your header's over here. So you have to go to Home, Align, Right. So choose that option. So go ahead and add your header, align it to the right. In your header you need two things, your last name and the page number. Now this is always the standard for MLA formatting. And anytime you send something in for publication or complete an assignment, you have to follow a style guide. We're doing MLA for this class, but different things require different style guides. So MLA is an easy one to learn. If you can learn MLA, you can learn any style guide. So anyways, we're going to type in our last name, then hit space. Then we need to add the page number, but we're not going to type 1 because that will make every page say page 1. To insert the page number, we're going to go up here to the top, click on Insert. So this is Home, clicking on the second one, and then I'm going to come all the way over here to Page Number and choose, see all these options here. So I'm under Insert, Page Number, drop it down, go to the fourth option. So we have 6 options here. We're going to go to the current position, and we're going to choose plain number 1. So we don't choose these cool accent bars, choose the plain number. So current position, plain number 1. Now we've got a page number and our last name. I want you to remember something. What font was our paper in? Underneath the header. We click down here, we're in Times New Roman. Let's go back to our header and highlight this. Go to Home. This is not Times New Roman font. So you don't want to turn in a paper that has a different header font from the rest of the paper. You want it all to be the same font in MLA. So you have to manually change this again, Times New Roman 12. A lot of people miss this step and they lose half a point right away for having the wrong header font. So don't forget, change that font Once you do that, you're good to go. Make sure it's size 12. And then you can double click underneath. Okay, now we're going to add some information here. So I'm going to hit the enter key. Up here I need to put my name, my teacher's name. Make sure you spell it right. You want to put your class name. Now I'm using this video for both English 101 and English 102, so don't get confused. If you're in 101, put 101. If you're in 102, put 102. And so we've got our name, teacher's name, class name. Then we need the date. So today when I'm doing this video, it's April 24th. Normally we write a date like this, but this is not how we're doing our date in MLA. Instead, you're going to do it like this. 24 April 2020. Notice there's no commas here. So go ahead and pause your video, add your name, your teacher's name, your class name, and the date that you are doing this in this format. Or you could put the date that you'll turn in the final draft if you know that. But if you don't know that, just go ahead and put today's date and change it later. So go ahead and add those steps, and then come back to the video once that's done. Okay, after we add that information, we need a title. So we're going to hit the enter key, and we're going to center our cursor. Now, the goal is to come up with a cool title, and a title that lets people know what your paper is going to be about. So it could be a simple question. Try not to just choose a really boring title like the name of the assignment. That's not very exciting. Title should grab people's attention, make them want to actually read your paper. The other thing, do you notice anything about how I've capitalized my title? First letter of each word starts with a capital letter except for the word for here. And that's going to happen in your title too. Don't capitalize the beginning of the word the, or a, or an, or of, but all the important words, you know, your verbs, your nouns, pronouns, and so forth, those are all going to be starting with a capital letter. Just the small, like articles and prepositions, those are the ones we don't start with a capital letter in most cases. So notice how I've done that here. And then, so once you've got your title, another thing to consider, don't make your title the same as the title of the source you are using in your paper, or one of your sources. So a lot of times the source will have a certain name, and students will use the name of their source for their paper. But that's kind of like stealing their title, and it's also confusing because you both have the same title. So try to be original here. And we're not going to put your title in quotation marks or anything like that. We'll do that for the author. If you have an author's title within your paper, you would put their title in quotation marks for an article, but not your title. So we've got our title. Once you've added your title, we're ready to go. Now we're going to go back to highlight the whole thing, Control A. And now we're going to add double space. So the easiest way to do that is to come up here, line and paragraph spacing, choose 2.0. When you do that though, you may notice there's a lot of extra space. So we want to get rid of this space right here. This. So this is more than double space. This is like quadruple spaced. We don't want spaces here. So we're going to go back, highlight everything. And this is another thing that people lose points on pretty consistently. They have too much spacing in their paper. So we're going to highlight it all with Control A, go back to this, but we're going to go click on this corner icon of paragraph. So click right here on the corner. Now line spacing should say double, before should say 0. If after says something besides 0, you're going to put 0 for the after spacing. And then you're going to check this box. So paragraph, corner, click, double, before is 0, after is 0. Check the box, watch what happens. Everything is nice and condensed. It's double spaced, but there are no extra spaces between these items, between paragraphs, between the title and the paragraph. So that's exactly how we want it. If you have any paragraphs that look like this, go back and delete the extra space between them. or you have something weird like this. And sometimes you have to kind of play around with it. In this case, it's weird because I have a block quote that ends with 3 periods. It's actually going to need to be 4 periods, so don't worry about that. But if you have any extra spacings after the paragraph, make sure you delete those. Okay, so now we've got our, make sure you do that step and pause your video, make sure it's all complete, and then come back and join us. So, I've got my paper formatted now. Last thing I want you to check for is make sure your paragraphs are indented. So you're going to hit the tab key at the beginning of each paragraph. Every single paragraph should start with an indent. Now this is just one long paragraph with a block quote in the middle, so that's why this isn't indented. You can learn more about block quotes in the MLA Frequently Asked Questions page under MLA Resources. So notice all these paragraphs are starting with an indent. And then we've got our paper formatted correctly. So that's what we want to do, and then you'll learn about the Works Cited page in another video.